आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
From the Republic Media Network headquarters, it's time for Arnab Goswami on the debate. Arnab Goswami on the debate.
On the show tonight, Dhankhar quits. Was he being threatened with a counter-impeachment by both sides? Did he land himself in a soup of his own making? At 9 p.m. tonight, the same template used by Indy to disrupt House proceedings, the debate over the special revision of electoral rolls in Bihar has reached the top chord. And ladies and gentlemen, we now know for sure, we knew yesterday, but double sure and triple sure, that the Honorable Vice President of India, Jagdeep Dhankhar, has quit. It's a shock exit. But is it a shock to both sides? The government is shocked, but is the opposition really shocked? Why did Jagdeep Dhankhar call the Congress party's Jairam Ramesh, which it is believed to have happened between 7:30 and 8 p.m.? Was there a call? Was there a call? The question is, was there a call? I'm not saying conclusively that there was a call, but some people have said there was a call. So was there a call? And why on earth, ladies and gentlemen, would the Vice President of India, being the first person to quit voluntarily, not due to circumstances of fighting a presidential election or otherwise, like V.V. Giri or the others before him, but quitting a job of Vice President of India, call a Congress leader for a phone conversation on the eve of his resignation? That also, a Congress leader called Jairam Ramesh, who once led a no-confidence motion against him, why was he the last person to receive a phone call from Jagdeep Dhankhar before he quit? What were Jairam Ramesh and Jagdeep Dhankhar confabulating about? Because I assume, ladies and gentlemen, that by 7:30, Jagdeep Dhankhar had made up his mind to quit. Now there are two possibilities. That Jagdeep Dhankhar was considering resignation and confabulated on the issue with Jairam Ramesh, or Jagdeep Dhankhar had not decided to resign, but decided to do so after confabulating with Jairam Ramesh. These are likely and strong possibilities that we cannot deny, and neither can we be stopped from speculating, because this speculation will happen. I believe, frankly, this is not about health. It's been building up for a while. Jagdeep Dhankhar is an interesting person. He does balance politics. Did he go overboard in getting into a political space? Did he try to shock the government? Why, if he was quitting, was there no prior signed farewell note, no transition ceremony? Why was this an attempt to grab a headline? Why do I have a feeling, ladies and gentlemen, that what Jagdeep Dhankhar wanted to do was to grab a headline? Because he was upset over something. Or maybe, after being threatened with an impeachment motion by the Congress party, no confidence motion by the Congress party, did he go overboard in trying to placate the Congress party up to a point where he ended up upsetting the government? Is it true that while he was threatened with a no-confidence motion by the opposition, the government was also upset enough with him to possibly consider the same thing? So was he eventually caught between a political yo-yo, ladies and gentlemen, of his own making? You see, have no doubt about it, think logically. This is not the way to behave. And maybe my saying this will make sure that I'm not the person to get an interview with Jagdeep Dhankhar. But I will say it. I don't care about those things anyway. The fact of the matter is this, ladies and gentlemen. Did he go overboard in trying to make the Congress party happy to ensure that they don't try and throw him out of a job? Why did he criticize the agricultural policies of the government? The same government that appointed him, why did he make public statements criticizing the agricultural policy of the government and say that as the son of a farmer, he feels pained about the agricultural situation or the condition of farmers, unless he knew that by saying so, he would be doing a balancing act? And did he say this after? Why did he say this after earlier being threatened by the Congress party? Did the Congress party in that sense have a leverage on him? Did the government, and I'm asking, did the government tell him earlier, please pipe down, don't try to negotiate or be the indirect interlocutor between the government and the judiciary on issues like impeachment? These are matters for the law minister, duly elected of this government, duly elected government to handle. It is not the job of the vice president. In that sense, was he getting politically activist and politically ambitious? Ladies and gentlemen, how is it that the same opposition which tried to oust Dhankhar, who mocked him outside parliament, and you remember that when they were mocking him outside parliament, now they are calling him a man of conscience. They're urging Narendra Modi to reverse his resignation. In the end today, Jagdeep Dhankhar's resignation has left more questions than answers. First, the opposition moves to try and impeach him. Now the ruling party, was it planning to do the same? Did Dhankhar resign to preempt the possibility of institutional humiliation because he could get impeached by the government that elected him? What was this sudden exit? Was it an attempt to send a message to the BJP leadership? Was it an attempt to try and build a greater role for himself because he realized that this government would not be making him president in 1.5 or 2 years? Was it an attempt at the age of 74 to stretch his political career? Ladies and gentlemen, fact of the matter is, why would Dhankhar reach out to Jairam Ramesh, one of his harshest critics, before resigning? So, this is not just about health. The resignation of Jagdeep Dhankhar is not to do about health. It is to do with trying to send a political message. I'm not discounting health, but that's not the principal or only reason. That's where I stand on this. I also believe it is wrong of him, health or any reason, to quit like this. You do not quit in such a way. There is a due process through which you have been elected. If nothing else, even you must respect that process. If he had problems, he could have had a conversation with the president. The president could have asked him to have a conversation with the prime minister. There are ways in which things happen. You can't be egotistic, temperamental, or have this one-upmanship approach when you're holding a position of Vice President of India. That should not have applied to Hamid Ansari, and I'm a critic of Hamid Ansari. When he was Vice President, he did things which I don't agree with, and that should not apply to Jagdeep Dhankhar. So what Jagdeep Dhankhar did is absolutely wrong, ladies and gentlemen. This is not like a corporate job where you go through 10 promotions, and then when someone disagrees with you, if they disagree with you, then you put in your papers and refuse to even serve your notice period or hand over a transition. Even in corporate roles, the general manager of a private sector company would know better. I'm surprised the Vice President of India didn't know the same. Let's debate.
Honorable members,
at 9:25 p.m. last evening, an unprecedented breaking news input trickled into the Republic newsroom.
Vice President of India, Jagdeep Dhankhar, has put in his resignation, and the resignation has been submitted to the President of India.
Vice President Dhankhar announced his resignation out of nowhere on the first day of the monsoon session of Parliament. In his one-page resignation letter, Jagdeep Dhankhar cited health reasons and medical advice for his shocking exit. The resignation came as a shock, as earlier in the day he was looking forward to the upcoming session, with even the impeachment of Justice Verma on the agenda, an issue close to his heart.
Honorable members, I need to inform you that in December, a motion under Article 124 was submitted for my consideration for removal of a judge of a High Court of Allahabad. That motion was purportedly from 55 members. I examined that and found that one particular member had signed at two places, two signatures of the same member, and the honorable member declines that he has not signed at two places, but he has signed only at one place. The matter becomes serious and culpable.
As per testimonies from the MPs, the Vice President chaired the meeting of the Business Advisory Council at around 12:30 p.m., which was attended by Leader of the House in Rajya Sabha and Union Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiren Rijiju. The meeting reconvened at 4:30, which Nadda and Rijiju couldn't attend. Allegedly, the Vice President wasn't pleased with this. Subsequently, the meeting was rescheduled for today at 1 p.m. Meanwhile, the Vice President was with the Rajya Sabha MPs till around 5 p.m. Even had a call with the Congress MP Jairam Ramesh at 7:30 p.m. But something changed between 7 p.m. and 9 p.m.
देखिए, पूरा दिन आप काम कर रहे हैं, पूरा दिन आप बैठ करके वर्क कर रहे हैं और सबसे मिल भी रहे हैं और सदन सुचारू रूप से चला रहे हैं, और अचानक आप एकदम इस्तीफा देते हैं, तो इसके पीछे कोई ना कोई कारण है, कुछ तो राज है जिसके पर्दादारी है।
क्या नाटक चल रही है भाजपा में, ये नाटक चलते रहेगी। तो फिर हमने अब ये वायरस, जो अजीब वायरस फैल रही है भाजपा में, इसमें कई पेशेंट अब प्रवेश हो जाएंगे, आप देखते रहे। सडनली ओवरनाइट, yesterday the session started, that was also fine. And suddenly by evening there is a crisis and you have the Prime Minister traveling outside the country. Today the country has no Vice President. We are headless in so many ways.
The manner in which sudden, abrupt and mysteriously a constitutional office holding Vice President of India has resigned leaves many questions unanswered. BJP has a track record of undermining constitutional offices and processes both.
Meanwhile, the BJP and allies have wished the Vice President a speedy recovery and have brushed aside any speculations.
I don't think we need to see a lot into his resignation. He's given a reason, and we've also seen that there have been a couple of episodes in the past few months where his health issues have come to the notice of all of us. So I wish him a speedy recovery, and I hope he gains a good health.
Nearly 15 hours after the Vice President's resignation, Prime Minister Modi took to social media platform with a 2-line post, wishing him good health. There were no signs to indicate that Vice President will resign abruptly. He looked bullish on the impeachment of Justice Verma, and in fact, he even had a planned visit to Jaipur announced by the Vice President's office. All that remains between the 7 to 9 p.m. mystery is an alleged call with Jairam Ramesh.
I will retire at the right time. August 2027. Subject to divine intervention.
While the Vice President continues to remain cooped up at his residence, the question remains, what happened? Was there disagreement on the impeachment issue? Did the Vice President overstep his role? Was this not discussed with the Prime Minister? Was health actually the main concern? Was the government caught off guard?
You know, I was thinking of hashtags for this, Sohail. Our first option for hashtag was Dhankar drama, because this is drama. Then I thought a more appropriate hashtag, which would be neutral, otherwise Sanjeev will say, Arnab, you're not neutral, you're being pro-BJP and all that. I have made it a hashtag which all of you will accept, which is hashtag not just health. Do you agree with me? Pull her out. Not just health. Do you agree, Sohail? Hashtag not just health.
You know,
yes.
I would have used Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland saying curious and curious. But then many people have read Alice in Wonderland in today's times. They think we're referring to some song or something. But I love the hashtag.
Not just health.
I'm glad you guys are becoming so creative.
Thank you. We are also the people who invented Tukde Tukde, urban Naxal. So we've been creatively right-wing for a long time. But this is funny. I mean, see, Sohail, you run a private company, you've advised so many private companies. This is like someone who becomes the president of a company or CEO of a company or the joint managing director of a company and quits without serving a notice period, having sent an email to all employees of the company, but not having had a conversation with the management. Isn't this the right analogy? I think Dhankar's done a wrong thing.
Let's not beat around the bush. Narendra Modi, if there's one thing that he's known for, is respecting long-standing relationships.
Yeah.
He has never fiddled with relationships or with people that he's had a long-standing relationship. We've seen the examples abound. They're all over the government, they're in the bureaucracy, all of that. There has to be a compelling reason where the Prime Minister and the government believe that they cannot confide in the Vice President doing his job as the chairperson of the Rajya Sabha.
Correct.
Whatever those reasons could be. It must be to such a boil. Because please remember, Arnab, why would anyone in government, Prime Minister, Amit Shah, anyone, why would they want something like this to happen? Why would they precipitate something like this to happen on the first day of the monsoon parliament? The first time when you're going to be discussing Sindoor in the public domain, when you're going to be discussing, the special intensive review, when you're going to be discussing all these things, why would the Prime Minister take that risk if it was not compelling? None of us can conjecture exactly why this happened, but there is a clear situation that the Vice President lost. There was no confidence left in the Vice President by the government. Because these decisions aren't taken lightly. They aren't taken, in a huff. And I think the Vice President also handled the resignation with great dignity. He said, it's my health. I'm resigning. I hope he doesn't become like Satyapal Malik and go to town.
That's going to be a shame.
But see, to be fair to the Vice President, he's an extremely decent human being. He's had years of service. He's been a formidable lawyer in Rajasthan. I don't think we can never say what's happened between the sheets, as it were, in terms of political mismatch, which has suddenly erupted. But I can tell you, it must be so serious for the Prime Minister to actually cut the umbilical cord because he's a great
You feel it happened? You feel that's the case because you're saying it quite plainly. What Sohail is suggesting here is Sanjeev, that the government cut the umbilical cord. In other words, the government effectively told Dhankar to go and gave him the option of a voluntary exit. You feel this is the right perspective to it, Sanjeev?
So, Arnab, in your introductory remarks, by the way, I love your hashtag, not just health.
Yes.
And in your introductory remarks, you did mention a line that this entire episode has raised more questions and we don't have all the answers. There is an element of conjecture and speculation because we really don't know what happened. Having said that, and since one has known Mr. Dhankar for several decades now, when he was practicing in the Rajasthan High Court. I used to be the Indian Express correspondent here, and I'm talking about mid-80s, so it's like 35, 40 years back. So, Mr. Dhankhar, there is no umbilical cord because Mr. Dhankhar has been a traveler of sorts in politics. He has been in the Congress, Janata Dal, NCP, and last 20 years, he was, or more than 20 years actually, with the BJP. So, and he worked his way up brick by brick, in a manner of speaking, in the BJP, and would not have thrown it away out of in a huff. So there may have been disagreements. Yes, I agree with you that there were times when I think he overstepped, especially on matters pertaining to judiciary. He should have kept his counsel and not gone public with his views. But otherwise, by and large, he was fairly supportive of the government. But something must have happened which made the government feel that he's an embarrassment or a liability, and something which must have happened only in those few hours yesterday. Because I don't believe that yesterday morning either the government or Dhankhar Saab knew that they will, by late evening, he won't be the vice president and he'll quit.
No, not at all.
So something really happened yesterday afternoon.
So what happens,
which
I'll tell you,
has triggered it to a point.
Sanjeev.
And sometimes what happens, Arnab, that you don't plan it, neither the government nor Mr. Dhankhar, but there may have been some exchanges, some dialogue which may have just forced his hand, and then you just can't make a comeback. There is no, the ladder is kind of taken away from under your feet. You're left hanging. And that's what happened, I think.
I don't think he would have quit unless if it was only a difference of opinion. By which I mean that obviously, see, I'll tell you viewers.
No, he must have been asked to.
No. See, what Dhankhar had started doing
no question,
was, what Dhankhar has started.
Many years ago, Prime Minister Vajpayee, if you remember, I was handling his campaign. One evening I asked him, I said, Babji, we used to call him Babji. I said, Babji, aap kabhi retire karoge? He gave the best line on the planet. He says, Sohail, इस कुर्सी से आदमी दो तरीके से जाता है, या भगवान बुला ले या आवाम बुला ले, which means either you die or you lose an election. No one leaves an office of power on their own.
So something therefore has happened. Now let me tell you one more thing, inside story, Pulara. A lot of signatures were being collected on blank pieces of paper by Rajnath Singh yesterday, and I'll show that picture. Now, it was assumed by a lot of us, Pankaj, that those signatures were the process to begin the process of impeachment of Justice Verma, right? But how are we sure? Could it be possible that that was collecting signatures to impeach not Justice Verma, but to begin the process of impeachment of the Vice President himself? And had matters come to such a pass vis-a-vis the Vice President that he was told indirectly that, look here, what you are doing by accepting the Congress-backed motion to impeach Justice Verma is deliberately try to take a pro-Congress position and catch the center off guard, because the government is keen to lead the charge on judicial corruption, but you are ceding ground to the opposition. You are on your own trip. You are doing your own thing. You are disrespecting the government that has appointed you. You are exceeding your brief. And that may have upset the government more than we imagine. You see, government, this is a big thing. Yeah. So if the government's angry with him, and government says, this gentleman has said that as a son of a farmer, he is angry about the state of agriculture in the country. It's an indictment of Shivraj Singh Chauhan and of the government. We've told him, but he keeps making comments on the Supreme Court. He doesn't let the law minister lead the charge. He doesn't let the prime minister lead the charge. He doesn't let anyone, the government decide. He wants to be deciding for the government. He's gone way beyond the ceremonial role of a Vice President of India. And could it have been, Pullarao, in that circumstances, that the government says, listen, I mean, we got to draw a line. Tell Mr. Dhankhar it's not working out. Is that possible?
Not at all.
Why not at all?
He is not an ordinary employee of the government of India or people.
I didn't say employee, it's a ceremonial position.
He's number 2 of the constitution.
He's not, it's not an executive role.
No, but he has his role. It may be decorative.
No, is it right, you tell me Pulla Rao, is it right for the Vice President to decide who will move the motion in the Rajya Sabha without even consulting the government? You accept the opposition back motion to impeach Justice Verma, right?
Yes.
Will it sit well with the centre?
No, you have...
Will it sit well with the centre?
You have started with the premise that everything began, as my friend says, yesterday afternoon. I personally believe this kind of gulf, these differences have been going on for some time and they were not managed.
But there was a tipping point yesterday.
No, tipping point maybe, but you have to manage it.
What was the tipping point?
You remember
what was the
one
tipping
issue.
point?
One instance I'll give you. You may not like it. General VK is saying his whole situation and that other government.
Sir,
Did they not manage it till he retired?
Sir,
did the government not manage it?
Okay. Then if Dhankhar wants to embarrass the government, and if his intent is that I will go but I will embarrass the government, then he would have done what he has done yesterday, which means you announce your resignation on Twitter. Does the Vice President announce his resignation on Twitter?
Arnab,
is this the way?
Embarrass the government, if he wanted to embarrass the government, he would have forced the government's hand on impeachment, where the opposition would have gone against the government and where he would have had a locus standi and the logical reasons.
But what if the government told him? What if the government told him, Pankaj, what if the government told him that, listen, we disagree with you, we don't agree with what you are doing, you are not following the due procedure, you're trying to decide for the government, now either you step down or we'll impeach you. Then what would he have done? Could that have been told to him?
I think Jagdeep Dhankhar was sick. That is why he resigned. He was so sick of the way he was being humiliated, verbally rebuked, and routinely harassed in private by more loyal than the king henchmen within the union cabinet. There is a limit for everyone, Mr. Goswami, and for that matter, even for Dhankhar, who has been obediently towing the line set till around 6 months ago. He has been ruthlessly harsh with the opposition, has been deliberately disrupting every opposition leader with unbelievable frequency in the House, has always been siding with the ruling party shamelessly with their skin. To which extent can you push even that kind of a devoted person to the wall? So when it came to the level of enough is enough, he took the decision to quit. It is as simple as that. No chairman of the House.
Tell me, Pankaj, 1 minute. Pankaj, tell me. You are chairman of the House, you interact, but you're a ceremonial post. Let's not forget that. You're a figurehead. You are a figurehead. You are not an elected leader of the country. You are a figurehead. I'm sorry if this shows disrespect to the Vice President.
You're nominated, you're not elected.
You are nominated, you are not directly elected. Okay, you owe it to the government. Now, tell me one thing. If Hamid Ansari had said that who is Manmohan Singh, who is Sonia Gandhi, I will decide everything. I'm saying, if Hamid Ansari had said, who is Sonia Gandhi, who is Manmohan Singh, I will decide what happens, I will decide process, I will decide, I will have meetings, I will meet the BJP, I will do this, I will move a motion moved, I will make a comment on agriculture, on defense, on economy. You call this, please be clear. You guys are the same people who say governors should not have any role in this country. You are the same people who say Ananda Bose should keep his mouth shut when there are massacres in Bengal.
The Congress with the BJP.
You are the same people who take on Governor Ravi of Tamil Nadu and say that even the President of India has no right to decide whether to hold assent to a bill for 3 weeks or 3 months. Come on, don't be a hypocrite, Pankaj. Don't be a hypocrite, Pankaj.
Any vice president or the chairman of the House must have some liberty to express his thought. No chairman of the House resigns in the middle of the session like this.
No.
So there is
You
actually
have to
a
be
need for a thorough
intellectually
investigation.
For that
There
kind
is
of a
actually
post.
a need for a thorough investigation into this entire affair as to what triggered this resignation episode, what actually happened. Opposition must raise a demand to have an internal parliamentary probe to ensure the vice president's resignation is not an outcome of any maltreatment. Was he mistreated by someone or by a group of persons?
No, this is all
Was
your
he
speculation. No, this whole
Was he
attempt.
bullied?
I'm giving you a phrase, my friend. I'm giving you a phrase for your program. In such posts, and I say it with great respect and humility, you have to be intellectually neutered if you want to play these roles and if you want to be participating in these kind of roles. I'll tell you why. They do not expect intellectual independence, as they shouldn't, because they have nominated you. They are almost doing you a favor. So Hamid Ansari, who was intellectually neutered long before he became vice president, he would never go against the grain. I have said this on your program, that the beauty about Manmohan Singh ji, who I have a lot of respect for, may his soul rest in peace. The beauty of that time was Manmohan Singh was in office, not in power. Sonia Gandhi was in power, but not in office.
Okay.
Can you manage that juxtaposition?
One point
today?
also.
You can't.
One point
Time has
also.
changed.
One point I want to make here. Suppose Jagdeep Dhankhar is angry, upset, wants to quit. You expect a vice president to have a conversation with someone. It can be, he is a man with access. He can pick up the phone and say, I would like to meet the Prime Minister of India right now. Or he can pick up the phone and say, I want to speak to the President Draupadi Murmu. I, as Vice President of India, I am driving up to Rashtrapati Bhavan. Please may the President give me half an hour. President would immediately agree. But what does he do, Sandeep Ghosh? Very interesting psychology, Geeta. He goes and calls Jairam Ramesh. Now, what happens in that phone call between him and Jairam Ramesh? And who is Jairam Ramesh, Geeta? Sandeep, Jairam Ramesh is the man who threatened to remove him through a no-confidence motion a few months back. So, Jairam Ramesh has a lever on him. The Congress says, listen, Dhankhar, you step out of line. We have already told you we will impeach you. They had moved a historic motion to impeach Vice President. This was the first ever attempt in independent India to remove a sitting Vice President. This was done by Jairam Ramesh and the Congress party. And Kalyan Banerjee then mocked him outside the steps of Parliament, and Rahul Gandhi was clapping and smiling when all of that happened. And Jairam Ramesh said, we have no option but to formally submit a no-confidence motion against Dhankhar because he's partisan and he has to be removed. That means, and when did this happen? This happened about a year and a half back, which means Congress has him by this grip. He says, oh my God, I'm going to lose my job. I am going to lose my job. I better keep Congress and Jairam Ramesh happy. Coincidentally, Jairam Ramesh has apparently said that he called me. I don't know if it's true. We must check, and can you give me there is apparently a report of a call between Congress leaders and Dhankhar late in the evening. Why would Dhankhar call Congress leader before announcing his resignation?
Jairam Ramesh said he called the vice president at 7:30.
Jairam Ramesh said he called the vice president.
Yeah.
And the vice president, just before quitting, spoke to him, but not to the Prime Minister.
So he must have been the voice of death or the kiss of death.
No, there's something cooking there, no? Sandeep, there's something cooking.
I like the term Suhail used, intellectually neutered. You know, people ask me, why do you come on Republic when you barely get a chance to put in your word sideways? But people will now ask me that with Arnab and Suhail both together, you really have to be intellectually neutered to be on the show, silent for half an hour to get a little chance to speak.
Very bad, yeah.
So that is what I suppose is the role of the vice president as people think of. But having said that, Arnav, having heard all of you in my limited conjecture, I would think this is neither petulance nor an impulsive decision. There must be a much larger, not what is brewing, but there must have been something much bigger, I don't want to use the term conspiracy, something bigger was waiting to happen, due to which the Prime Minister and the government decided to pull off the plug of this whole situation. It is not a matter of, build up, slow build up, or a slow death, which was happening. If that had happened, the government would have done something even before the session began. Or it's not something like people are saying yesterday, once accepting a motion, or Dhankhar getting upset by one comment of Natta or anything of that kind, which has just triggered this sort of a thing in an impulse or in a huff, he decided to quit, etc. There must be something bigger, and we have all, and with due respects to all, seasoned journalists like you, we have yet to have the full picture. If there have been meetings going on between the president and the, Amit Shah, Mr. Modi, and all for a long time, everybody has been thinking it is for impeachment of Justice Verma or something. Last few days, you have seen Yogi coming and meeting everybody. So I think there's a much larger political stuff happening over there, and this could be part of it. And I don't think we're in a position to guess. One guess, which I've hazarded in a show earlier, that they needed to clear the berth over there for some political accommodation, whether it's a Nitish or whether it's somebody from the existing cabinet or somewhere to make him a vice president. And Dhankhar may have put his foot down and then tried contacting the opposition, etc., for support, and due to which it was seen as a revolt, and the government had to pull the plug out by saying that otherwise we impeach you or pass a no confidence motion or get away. But it is not as simple as that. And Dhankhar, I suppose the health reason, he had to also put it in not just sort of dignity, but also to save his own face from anything happening. That's my reading, but I think it's not just a question of picture abhi baki hai. There's lots going to happen in the next 1 month of this monsoon session. We have to hold our horses. Each day will bring a new surprise. And I think this is just only the first act, first act we have seen so far.
Okay, I think that, my response to that would be, Sandeep, in Delhi, I've realized that people in National Capital Region speculate more than they know. And especially when it comes to the BJP, RSS, etc. I agree with you that there is an impending change in the BJP organizational structure. I also agree with you that this gives a convenient berth. Suppose there is a senior BJP leader who you would like to upgrade, either in cabinet from party into vice president, it opens up a berth. But that does not lead to this precipitate action. However, Geeta, perhaps we must concede here the BJP can be quite ruthless when it comes to dealing with people who've gone rogue or who are about to go rogue. You know, you've seen the way the BJP dealt with Satpal Malik. There was no forgiveness. And in the opposition today and in Delhi circles, everybody is slurping their lips in the opposition, Pularao. Oh, he's going to do a Satpal Malik. He's going to catch the next YouTuber to give an interview to. What do you think? Do you think he will do a Satpal Malik now?
Arnab, due respect need to be given to the constitutional position of the vice president. But what is interesting, there is an echo, if you can please correct it.
Yeah, we'll reduce it.
Is to see that the kind of conspiracy theories that the opposition is trying to build and the kind of crocodile tears that the opposition is shedding.
Yes.
They are the ones who have been after the former vice president's life when he was chairing the session in the Rajya Sabha. In the previous, almost all the sessions which happened, they have been at loggerheads with him. And as you just mentioned, that's what probably the only time in the winter session of 2024 that they decided to put forward a former impeachment of the vice president. And what a U-turn they have made, making fun of him, in the corridors of the parliament, all the opposition leaders standing and laughing and mocking, the vice president. It is a constitutional position. I mean, with so much of disrespect being given to the position of the vice president. And today they have made just such a U-turn, and they are trying to sympathize with him. They are trying to, show as if they were always there for him, trying to support him, trying to, lend their hand to him. So this is something which needs to be looked into, that why is it that the opposition leaders today today are trying to be so sympathetic, trying to gain brownie points, taking political advantage over here.
Gitaji, this is politics. It's very fluid. People interact with each other. He's not an employee. He's in a constitutional position.
But there's no medical emergency. There is no sudden health situation concerning him.
Absolutely.
He's in stable health and actively fulfilling his responsibilities. We don't discount that fact. Maybe the government got very angry by saying, this man thinks he can substitute the Prime Minister of India and the Law Minister of India and the Home Minister of India and the entire cabinet by deciding how to go about the process of impeachment of a... You see this lawyer in him, he's a lawyer. He wants to play the lead on judicial issues. He wants to decide how to move the impeachment motion. He wants to call Jairam Ramesh. He wants to consult with the Congress. He wants to tell the Congress, okay, here it is. I am giving you a victory in the Rajya Sabha. Go ahead with my blessings. While the government may introduce the bill in the Lok Sabha, I will let you have the last word, Mr. Jairam Ramesh. I will let you move the motion to impeach Justice Verma. So, no, Vice President's working actively with the opposition to give them a political victory. Is this acceptable? Is there a Vice President or a politician at work?
See, he was a politician. He has become Vice President. You're still,
but then you're supposed...
a politician. You have to...
So he's trying to please the Congress party.
You have to take care.
So you agree he's trying to please the Congress party?
This is part of politics. He is not a rubber stamp. He has got discretionary powers.
But Sanjeev, see, there's an acceptance. He's trying to please the Congress party. He's trying to please the Congress party. Sohail. Okay, Sanjeev first. Sanjeev first, Sohail after that. Yes, Sanjeev.
Okay. So, Arnab, last few months, at least last few weeks, you got a definite sense that disagreements between the government and Mr. Dhankhar were brewing and were getting talked about. But the disagreements but Mr. Dhankhar was nobody's fool. He knew there was no real political purpose which could be served by him trying to please the Congress. The Congress is nowhere near power. The Congress is not coming to power very soon. The Congress, in the overall power structure, real power structure, Congress party and the entire opposition is quite irrelevant. So I don't think, let's give Mr. Dhankhar respect enough not to think of him as being so
mean I don't debate
yes,
him.
he may have started giving time to Mr. Khadge, Mr. Kejriwal to visit him, which he was, maybe if he was more careful or more sensitive to what the government may think, he should not have done it. But I don't think he was cozying up in that way to the opposition. But yes, yesterday, this motion thing, even while he admitted the motion, he read out in some detail as to how it has already been admitted in Lok Sabha with more members having signed it. And I don't remember the exact details, but he said one of the two motions will be admitted. But what happened between the first round of Business Advisory Committee at around noon or around 1 and the second one was scheduled between 4:30? In that 3 hours, when Mr. Nadda and Kiran Rijiju didn't turn up, something must have happened.
So then here's where it lies. So are we right in saying?
I have no information.
So are we then right in saying?
Authenticate it that somebody Arnab, can I just complete?
Yeah, sure.
Just one more sentence. That what I am told, and I don't know whether it's the true information, but somebody very responsible told me that a very high-ranking minister called him up at around evening and said the government is very angry and upset with him about the way he has conducted affairs during the day, especially on this. And to which Mr. Dhankhar has told that if everybody is so upset with him, I will quit. And the person on the other side of the line said, didn't actually stop him from doing so. And so sometimes things happen.
No. Here's the thing. Therefore, if I put it together,
momentum.
If I put it together, give me a moment. Give me a moment, Sohail. If I put it together, Pankaj, here's the story. Dhankhar had been upsetting the government. Dhankhar was on the back foot with the Congress. Dhankhar was trying to keep the Congress happy enough so that the Congress would not move against him, a no confidence motion. But over the last few months and weeks, he went over the top. He became too close to the Congress party. And the trigger was when yesterday, he unilaterally decided to accept the Congress's motion to impeach Justice Verma without consulting at all with the government. And The government then called him and said, Mr. Dhankhar, you're crossing the line. We are going to impeach you. And or you quit. Dhankhar, and government found a perfect opportunity to remove him and also empty a position, a berth, as Sandeep said. Dhankhar panicked. He said, I'm going to quit. And that's how it went. That's why you see the Prime Minister's response to his impeachment is very curt. He served in very many roles. Thank you very much. Nothing more.
Let me tell you, Arnab, not even a parinda, to quote a dialogue from Sholay, will move in the capital without the concurrence of the Prime Minister and Amit Shah.
Yeah.
Let's not fool ourselves. One cabinet minister called and he was very upset and he says, oh, then if you want to quit, you quit. You know, we can keep manufacturing story after story. That's what Delhi does. The reality to my mind is as follows. I don't know the sequence of events. This clearly had the concurrence, the understanding and the go-ahead from the Prime Minister, no less. And the Prime Minister, who's a great believer in relationships,
I think so,
would only do this if he lost complete faith.
Yeah.
He's the kind of person who will give you a chance.
I think the Prime Minister would have
Remember,
given Dhankhar a very, very, very long rope. And he has.
Yeah.
He has.
And he has.
But Dhankhar ended up overstretching his luck, Pankaj. And now there's no sympathy for him. If I open the phone calls, there's no sympathy for him.
Arnab, it's not a question of stretching.
Yeah, Sandeep.
I will say one thing.
Sandeep.
He was a damn decent and dignified person. Arnab, let's not take it away from Jagdeep Dhankhar. Now, what must have happened in the relationship factors?
But so is the Prime Minister. He gives a long rope. He builds relationship, and he's always given a lot of respect to Dhankhar.
As I said,
Dhankhar became politically ambitious.
Let us.
Only Pula Rao believes that the Vice President's job is not.
Surya, give us a second also, please.
Yeah,
okay.
But it's the first time you spoke full length.
Just a second. Arnab, two things. You know, the Prime Minister, you see this message is even more muted than what he did for Hamid Ansari. And it's just not a matter of just having given him rope. I think there was something much larger brewing, due to which this whole final act of cutting the umbilical cord or whatever you want to use, or just pulling off the plug, as I said, had to be done. It cannot be a minor thing. And if some minister, howsoever senior, unless it was Amit Shah talking to Dhankhar, if he said that, Dhankhar would have his own ways of verifying or validating whether the Prime Minister wanted him to quit. And the Prime Minister also in the normal course wanted to do, he would have had ways to convey the message to him, than do it in one fell stroke and then put out this message in the morning, perhaps to also quash any kind of speculation that, you know, what could have happened, by very clearly saying that I was unhappy, I'm letting him go, and I'm not shedding any tears for his departure.
Willa, if Dhankhar goes with an interview to a YouTuber tomorrow, Pankaj, will it have any impact? He won't. No, he may turn into a Satpal Malik. He may do a Satpal Malik, but he also knows that nobody took Satpal Malik seriously.
Interview, it will have an impact. If he gives you an interview.
After today's show, he won't, I tell you. Yeah. Pankaj.
I don't think he'll be giving any interview to any YouTuber. He may perhaps give an interview to you. You know, there are obviously very serious reasons behind his resignation. Dhankharji will not attend any one voice. He won't deliver any farewell speech. You know why? Because he doesn't want to tell lies about the reasons of his resignation. And telling nation the truth would be so thunderous, so ear-shattering, that he wants to spare the political horizon from such an ugly scene. Things are so deeply disturbing.
What is disturbing? What do you mean by that? I mean, why don't you tell Geeta, what do you mean by things are disturbing, there is a storm coming? You know, Delhi, why is there so much gossip in Delhi? There is going to be a new BJP president. There will be new office bearers. They are going to bring in Generation Next. Why are Delhi Lutean circles, Geeta, treating this like some major cataclysmic bypass operation that is going to happen?
Arnab, absolutely. You know, this is, a call has been taken by the Vice President, the former Vice President now. He has decided, he has cited very well in his resignation that he has health problems. Why is it that people cannot digest it? Maybe given an opportunity to look into that, there are other reasons, as you were mentioning, that yes, There will be a discussion on it, that why is it that so suddenly he resigned. But when an individual has been, let us give that due respect to him. Why is it that the Latanzelli is trying to find out as if there has been, that there were people when the government is going to after him?
You want us to believe that
let it be. There is no going to be a new vice president. We are going to accept. You need to just accept it. He had a heart procedure, some time back. He was hospitalized. He was not well. Why is it that no one wants to accept it? If a man at a position of being a vice president is trying to convey that he does not want to continue. I mean, why is it that we can't give him a
I have a feeling here.
Why? That is the big question.
Was Jagdeep Dhankhar the Trojan horse? Was he the mole? Was he working on behalf of a political party ever since the threat to impeach him?
So nobody knew when he was appointed.
There's no base. What will he fight with?
Yeah, but there may be no base. But Sanjeev, when you're vice president, you think you're very important, you're influential, you can grab the headlines.
He has been 40 years in politics. He has seen ups and downs. He knows fully well what he is doing.
But he was always headline grabbing. He wanted to be in the news. He was making statements. Sanjeev, you know him. He was loving the attention.
No, I don't think so.
He was loving the attention.
No, he may be loving the attention, but he won't like to be in news by resigning.
True,
you don't throw the baby with the dishwater.
But Sanjeev, I'd put the converse.
He won't like that kind of being in news.
Would he have been an instrument of or a lever for a larger conspiracy brewing? Whether I don't know whether it was through the opposition or anywhere else, either to embarrass the government, and being in that position,
I don't think so.
He could have been an the lever for that, and then the government found out.
I think, like Arnab said earlier, that he may have overstepped on a few issues, but he had no conspiracy or etc. in mind against the government or.
But could he have been a pawn in someone else's conspiracy?
Or a mole, like Arnab is saying. He clearly doesn't want that interview with Mr. Dhankhar.
They're not such deep thinkers. We are thinking more than the entire government and the vice president put together. He has not thought this through. Someone has made a call.
I have known him for 40 years.
It's time for you to go.
I know him for 40 years, and Mr. Dhankhar is a deep thinker. He's a very intelligent man.
He may be a deep thinker, so was Plato, but he wasn't vice president of India. We are not talking about his thinking abilities. We are saying the action happened.
I just don't find too much.
Sohail, you just now said that he is not a deep thinker.
I said, let us not be deep thinkers. The problem is...
He's a deeper thinker than most of us on the panel.
Okay, so very good. He's a deeper thinker. फिर क्या कर लिया deep thinking?
Okay, anyway, I think Dhankhar will be very happy because he's grabbed the headline for a day.
deep thinker की बात तो आपने की, मैंने थोड़ी की. I am just adding to it.
As of now, it's more likely that Dhankhar will give an interview to a Congress leader than to the Republic. I thank you very much. That's been very exciting. We've had some political excitement. Lutyens is so excited, so happy. They're jumping around. They're chirpy like they got a new life since morning. Anyway, at 9 o'clock tonight, the templated script by the ND to disrupt House proceedings over the SIR in Bihar. Do you know what the SIR in Bihar is? What that electoral roll revision is? I'll tell you when we are back.
Time for a quick breather. Arnab will be right back with the debate.
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला सिप सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप